Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am so excited to be doing a review and a full get ready with me using some favorite luxury makeup products, as well as reviewing the new Tom Ford Eye Color Quad Creme in the shade Tiger Eye. So this is the beautiful Tiger Eye palette right here. So I will insert some swatches and then tell you a little bit about the shades. So the Tiger Eye Quad is a warm matte and shimmer eyeshadow quad in warm champagne, burnt coral, caramel, and a deep reddish brown. So all these shades have a beautiful sheen to them, and then this shade, the deepest shade of the palette, is a matte formula, but it's a creamy matte, so it feels like a cream to powder formula. And then these shimmer shades are all so beautiful. They are very finely milled, very refined. They have a very continuous shimmer, so there are no chunkiness to them. It is just a very elegant sheen, a very mature shimmer, if you will. So really, really excited about this quad. I think the color story is beautiful. I was really happy to pick this one up and play with it as well. So with these eye color cremes, they claim to be long-wearing eyeshadows that move with the skin for a crease and flake resistant finish and high impact intensity. And for me, this is exactly what this palette does. I did want to update you on the Rose Topaz. I did find that it did resist creasing, so very impressed with the longevity of that, and I expect this to have the exact same result. But I will advise you if there are any issues down below in the comment section. But if you want to see my thoughts and review on the new Tiger Eye palette, as well as a get ready with me, just stay tuned. So here is the Tom Ford palette. This is the Tiger Eye that I will be using today, and I have a sneaky suspicion this one will probably end up being my favorite. Just the color story is right up my alley. I love those warmer tones. They're still neutral, but they lean a little bit more warm toned. And I just think the shimmers in these appeal to me more than the other eyeshadow palette. So I am going to start off, I'm going to take this shade right here, and I'm again going to try it out with the Sonia G Blender Pro, just to see if I can get payoff with this brush, even though it is a little more fluffy. So I am going to try with, again, this shade right here, and I'm just going to, again, it's so interesting how it just has no powder kick up. It's very interesting to me, and I'm just going to, oh, that actually worked nice. I'm going to apply that to the outer corner of my eye, and then I'm going to work that shade into the crease a little bit. So I first want the most amount of pigment on the outer corner, which is why I apply it there first. And then with whatever is excess on the brush, then I just run that through the crease. So you still get a nice soft amount of pigment. It's not overwhelming or anything like that. Super easy to work with in the crease. I definitely am preferring how this palette is applying so far versus the other eyeshadow palette, although I have just gone in with one shade, so that's not really saying much. But I do think this has just a little bit more pigmentation than that other transition shade in the Rose Topaz. And then because I want just a bit more color payoff with that, I am going to go in with that Wayne Goss 18 brush, which is a more dense brush. And I'm going to pack that onto the side of the brush. And then, oh, that just gets me every time that there's not excess product or anything. And then I am going to pat it on the outside corner just to get more color payoff there. And that definitely distributes more color onto the eye. You get a little bit more color payoff working in that way. And that is a beautiful tone, perfect bronze, and it has a beautiful sheen to it. But again, it's nothing overwhelming. There are no chunks of glitter. It's not too shimmery. It's very sophisticated and an elegant glitter. So it's very refined, so it doesn't look obnoxious. You're not going to get any glitter chunks, nothing like that. And then I am going to take this lightest shade right here on a flat shader brush. This is the Sonia G Builder 2 brush. And I'm just applying that onto the lid. Oh my god, that is a beautiful sheen. Really elegant, so pretty. Tom Ford does shimmer eyeshadows very beautifully, and this is really lovely. It just has that ever so soft shimmer throughout it that is just, it's pure elegance. That's the best way I can describe it. It's really beautiful. And then I am just going to touch up that outer corner, going back into that bronze shade and just packing that right on the outside corner again. And then I want to bring a little bit of this coral shade into the look. So I'm just going to take that again on the Sonia G brush, and I'm going to dip into that, and then I'm just going to run that along the crease, just to bring kind of a pop of color there. Just really subtly and soft though. And it's not too crazy of a color or anything like that, but I think it just looks nice to have a little bit of a pop of something there. And then this is the only matte shade in the palette, so I'm going to take that on a flat definer brush. This is the Wayne Goss 07 brush, and I'm going to use this for my eyeliner, so I'm just pressing this into the upper lash line from the outside corner, working inwards. So this just adds a nice amount of depth to the look. It's just going to help kind of ground the look and add a little bit of definition along my lash line. For the lower lash line, I'm going to take a pencil brush and I'm going to take this bronze shade that I use in the crease and outer corner, and I'm going to apply that to the lower lash line. So starting at the outside corner, connecting it to that outer corner on the top lid to make sure it flows, and then bringing it inwards. And then I'm going to go in with the lightest shade here, and I'm going to apply that to the inner half of the lower lash line, just to add a little bit of brightness there. Now this will look much better once I have face makeup on, but from here I'm just going to apply my mascara and I'll be back. Mascara, I just went in with my favorite combo. This is the Dior Maximizer 3D Lash Primer, and then I just went in with 2 coats of the Kjaer Weis Impossible Mascara. And I just have to say I am already loving this palette so much, way more than the Rose Topaz. I am initially very impressed. Moving on to concealer, I'm going to take my new favorite. This is the Sisley Eye Concealer with Botanical Extracts in the shade number 2. I'm just applying it under the eyes. And then a little to this outside corner just to clean up there. And then I'm just going to blend that in with my Beauty Blender. Foundation, taking the Dior Capture Totale Super Potent Serum Foundation in the shade 3N. Just love this stuff. I'm going to take one and maybe a half of a pump, just like one and a teeny bit of another pump. And I like to apply again to the palm of my hands, because if you apply to the back of your hands, the pores on your hands will absorb most of that product. So applying it this way results in you not needing to use as much foundation, and then just applying onto the skin. And I am just so loving this foundation. This is definitely a new favorite. I reviewed this a few weeks ago now, and it just constantly looks beautiful every single time. I have no issues with it. It lasts all day long, so it's a really great long-wearing foundation, and it just has a beautiful medium coverage. It still lets your skin shine through, but it does the most beautiful job blurring and just really softening the look of your skin. It just makes your skin look like filtered. It's so pretty. I absolutely adore this foundation. And I don't hear many people talking about it, and it's really lovely. This has quickly made its way into my top 5 foundations of all time, so I'm so happy that I decided to try this one out because it is just incredible. I feel like I haven't talked about this tip much on my channel, but sometimes what I like to do after I've applied my foundation is that I take a clean foundation brush, so I obviously applied my foundation with my Beauty Blender, and I like to just go over the areas where I don't want foundation to sit on top of my skin. So I go over top, especially in this area. And it doesn't look heavy at all currently, but this just really helps absorb and kind of distribute if I did have any excess product. It just makes everything look even more natural and a little more smooth. So I really like to do that, especially on my nose where I don't want much product, and then just over the front of my face, and it just makes everything look a little more natural. I just went ahead and tight lined with my Sisley eyeliner. This is the Phyto-Khol Star Waterproof in the shade 1 Black. And then from here, I'm just going to finish off the eye. So I'm just going to touch up a bit of that lower lash line, just in case I covered that up with any concealer. So I'm going to take this bronze shade again down here and just distribute that along the lower lash line. And then taking a MAC 228 brush in this lightest shade in the palette, I'm just going to wrap that on the inside corner just to bring a little light there. I mean, it's not too bright of a shade, just to bring a little bit of that brightness just to the inner crease, and then that will finish off the eye look. So I think the eyeshadow looks absolutely beautiful. I definitely am loving this palette so much. For bronzer, I'm taking the Éclat Peau. This is the bronzing powder duo in the shade number 2. So this is the deeper of the 2 shades. And I actually did a full face of Éclat Peau, but that hasn't gone up yet. So that will probably go up after I review all these Tom Ford quads. So I'm just going to apply it first to the forehead and then go on the cheeks just to bronze this look up. And I just have to say, this formula is stunning. It's such a smooth formula. This is insanely finely milled for a bronzer. It's beautiful. It's so smooth when you apply it on the skin, and it really adds a beautiful tone. It's not too warm. It's definitely not cool toned. Like, I don't even think this is a bronzing contouring duo. But these tones work really beautifully together. This side, the lighter side of the duo, does have a bit of a sheen to it, but you can't detect any shimmer particles on the face because, again, I don't really enjoy that. This just adds, again, it's a very skin enhancing bronzer. It just applies like a dream. It's a very refined formula, so it's just really elegant on the skin. It sits beautifully. It just melts right in. No harsh lines or anything like that. Highlight, I am taking the beautiful Hermes Permabrass highlight. I think this is limited edition, so I would get your hands on it while you can because this is one of the most beautiful highlighters in my collection. It is so stunning. I'm always so impressed with this formula. And again, it has intensity to it, but it melts into the skin and just gives you a beautiful shine. It's very creamy formula, and I just love the glow it gives. It does have intensity, but it's not over the top. And again, I just love how it melts into the skin like a liquid highlighter would. It's so beautiful. And then for blush, I'm going to take another new favorite. I'm playing with a lot of new favorites in this video as well. This is the Peau number 105 blush. I adore this. I think the formula is amazing. So today I'm going to start with the lightest shade. It has like a lovely peachy tone to it. It's really pretty. And again, it has a sheen to it, but you can't detect shimmer particles on the skin. This formula is extremely finely milled, and it's just such a creamy product for a powder blush. It melts into the skin, again, almost like a cream would. And I just think this color is super flattering. It gives you a lovely glow to your skin, but it's not going to emphasize texture. So I can actually apply this shade to the front of my face because it never emphasizes texture in that area. It just refines the look of your skin and makes your skin look even better. So I love blushes like that. And then I am going to go over top with this deeper shade. This is more like, almost like a terracotta-ish shade. So I'm just gonna go in with a bit of that, and I'm going to apply this more to the backs of my cheekbones, and then maybe a little bit up into the temple as well. And then of course, finishing off the look with my Peau Refining Pressed Powder. So this is just a translucent shade. I just like to apply it to the center of my face mostly, and then I just have the rest of the skin without any of that powder product, and this just absolutely perfects your makeup at the end of the look. It makes everything look better. It is the best refining powder in the center of your face. If you have any texture or any pores or anything like that, this instantly blurs and just smooths out the look of your skin. It's just a magical powder that I can't get enough of. Time for lips, and I did throughout the video, I just prepped my lips with the Dior Lip Maximizer. This is the shade 001, just because I like my lips to feel nice when I go in to apply lip products. So I'm going to start off with the Chantecaille. This is the lip definer, and it is in the shade Natural, so it's just a perfect nude shade. It's very neutral tone, not too warm, not too cool. So I just lined and filled in my lips with that Chantecaille lip liner, and then for lipstick, I'm going to take my very sad Chanel Rouge Coco Flash. This is in the shade Boy number 54. This is literally all I have left, so I need to buy a backup. And I'm just applying that on. This acts as my lipstick and lip gloss in one because it goes on kind of like a very pigmented lip gloss. It's a lovely formula, and it's just as comfortable as a lip gloss is. And then again, I like to rub everything together so that my lips look more lived in. So this is the look finalized, and I love how this turned out. I think it is beautiful. I absolutely love these tones. So let's talk a little bit about this palette. For me, this is 100% better than the Rose Topaz palette. Now I'm just going to show this one. So while I liked how the look turned out, I'm just not in love with it for whatever reason. I don't think this shade is the best. It is so light toned. It barely shows up as a transition shade. I don't mind that, but I just don't love it. For me, the formula, it's definitely something like this palette I wouldn't recommend to beginners. I think it's a little finicky to work with, but the result is beautiful. But for this palette, this I would recommend to beginners because these shades are super creamy. They're super pigmented. I don't know if you could tell, but it took me zero effort to blend those eyeshadows at all. They basically just blended together so easily. You hardly had to put any work into it. These shimmers are beautiful. They are sophisticated. They are elegant. There is no chunkiness at all to these shimmers. They just lay on like a dream. And this is a true cream to powder. They apply like a powder shadow would. but they melt into the skin. So they just meld into the skin, into the eyes really beautifully. I think this formula would be fantastic if you have mature eyes as well. I just think this whole color story is very easy to work with. I can get a complete look out of it. I don't need to reach for another palette. For me, I don't need a transition shade. I found all these shades worked well together, and I think the result is beautiful. I feel like I could go anywhere with this makeup look, and it's not too much makeup, but not too little makeup. So this is the perfect every occasion sort of makeup look. I am super happy with the shimmers in this. They are stunning to work with. Again, that pigmentation is beautiful, but it's not too pigmented. They're creamy, and I just think the shimmers in this are so luxury. They are luxurious shimmers, and they look beautiful. Now this matte shade, I didn't try to apply that in the crease, so I'm not sure how that would go, but it works really well as an eyeliner, and for me this is deep enough that I would probably only reserve this for an eyeliner. I typically wouldn't apply this to my crease anyways because of how deep it is, but it adds the perfect amount of depth. It's deep enough to add that effect to your eyes without it looking too dramatic or anything, because I like that it's a brown, it's not a black shade. And I think this coral is lovely just to have as a little bit of a pop of color, but it's still really neutral. So for me, this is the winner out of the two palettes that I've tried so far. I think this is worth the money, and in my opinion, I liked this quad, and I love this shade here because it is beautiful as a topper. It has the most elegant sparkle, but it's not a chunky glitter. But I'm just not in love with the other shades. So for me, I am super happy that I got this one as well because this is the favorite of the two eyeshadow palettes. I still have to play with the smoky quartz, so do make sure you are subscribed so that you see that video as well because I will be reviewing that one next. But I love that eyeshadow. I love this eyeshadow quad, the Tiger Eye one. For me, this is definitely my favorite, and I am very happy that I picked this up. And I do want to say, these don't appear to be getting that same hard pan effect that this one had, but even though I did mention that it looked like it was getting hard pan, I do want to say these shades are still creamy, and it hasn't actually developed hard pan. It just looks like it will, if that makes sense. And this one, no issues with. I think it is lovely. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, let me know if you have any questions about these products down below. Let me know your thoughts on these products. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and especially if you want to see the smoky quartz, which will be coming up next. And I will see you guys in my next video.